So with this video I kinda want to give you guys a start, because I noticed that a lot of people, they see a video about FGC-6 and are kinda confused how to get started with it. So first, to get familiar with what the project is, and that you kinda understand why there's this model, this model, this model, this model, what the outer shells are doing and what their limitations are, and what the benefits are of those models, what the shroud options are of those models, the stocks, and the functions inside, let's say. That's why I want to go to the Google Drive link, and there you can find the PDF about this project. This will then explain basically what the fire systems are inside, what magazines it kinda can use, and what the operation, let's say, is with the charging handle, the shrouds, things like that. Then there's also, if you are really new to Airsoft, it might be a good thing to then, after that one, read the how to use. So let's say you go for the BL edition of a Partisan-6, they go to the BL PDF, then you read how to operate the system. But it also will cover the basics of Airsoft, so how to fill your green gas magazines, or how to use HPA, how to use CO2, what kind of are the rules with Airsoft in the sense of safety, with safety equipment, things like that. For people that already know that, of course you can skip a lot of things in those manuals, but it is mainly done for people who are really new to Airsoft, like I was in the beginning. And then you can kind of get familiar with it, so you do use it in a safe way. You also know how to use it, basically how to use it. Then you also know the Airsoft basics, so you know how to use the replica. Then before you start to buy parts, I do really recommend that you also read the how to build manual before you start to buy parts. There's also in this Google Drive folder a PDF that will give you linkable links to parts, let's say, that you can buy. But there are a few alternative options, and to understand what you want to build and how you want to build it, let's say the budget mode, or more if you choose to give this a stronger charging handle, you go for a 3D printed one, things like that. You can kind of look at that PDF first, so you know why there are different options. Like for the fire selector, for instance, with the FGC-6 models, there's still the AR option or the 3D printed option. Why would you want to choose the AR-15 fire selector instead of the 3D printed one? And things like that. There are some things, if you know what you buy, it will save you money in the end run. And also why you not necessarily want to buy a hop-up unit for the project, because in a sense that in the beginning you might think that's better, but with this project it's better to go for a 3D printed one for better adjustability. But that are things you only understand if you read the how to use manual first, and then the how to build manual. Then it's also important to know why you're going to build it. So are you going to build your FGC-6 or Partisan-6 or Rogue-6 for let's say Airsoft games? Or are you going to make it more like a target rifle, like a pellet rifle, or a BB gun, something like that? So something not intended to shoot at people with. So it doesn't matter if it shoots higher than it should be for Airsoft use. For this reason, it's really important to also look at the tester data. The tester data will show you what effects will be when you increase the inner barrel length. Also what the effect of the nozzles are on this, and the use of green gas, HPA, CO2 at certain temperatures, or in the case of HPA with PSI settings. There's also the 3D nozzle. This is still on beta at this moment. Maybe when you watch it, it's not. This will have 3D printed rockets inside of the nozzle, and the rocket will then make it adjustable. Because the nozzles used in this project are pistol nozzles. So there's not really a market for it to have lower FPS rockets. It's really hard to find one for the nozzles we are using for this project. So the nozzles are more made for pistol length barrels to have it at the safe airsoft speed, let's say. When you start to use them in longer barrels, they start to get really fast, and in most cases too fast to use with airsoft use. It depends on where you live and how long the barrel is, but so that's why you also then at the end want to look at the tested data. Depending on where you live, you might already have kind of selected in your mind, I want to go for this nozzle because I have a really hard time to find this nozzle or that nozzle, or that replica can only use 3 nozzles anyway, so it's really easy to limit yourself. So in that case, of course, don't read the tested data of the nozzles that you don't going to use. I do have to say, a lot of my testing data is done on the VTech nozzles, Angel Custom, at least that shape. So some tests are also still relevant for different type of nozzles, but then it's probably more about bolt weight or something else, something unrelated to it, let's say FPS necessarily. So do look it a little bit over, but don't get too crazy with the details. But yeah, but then after that, and you understand how it works with all the PDFs, then you can go to the parts list, buy the proper barrel length and airsoft parts, and you can start building your replica. Then you understand why you're using those parts, why you want to build those. And I noticed with a lot of people, they don't do that, or they only read it for part way, and then they get a little bit confused. And there might be always a little bit of confusion in it, but I think if you go it about this way, and then after then you download a file package, a starter packet of one project, and that also will contain the correct PDFs for that model. But if you go first in the Google Drive folder, you can get access to all the PDFs of all the models. So even if you are kinda not sure about this model and this model, let's say, just to pick one, then you can read both how to use PDFs, and you can see like, oh yeah, I kinda like that more than that one, and things like that. But also about the project will also explain some benefits one over the other. But just to give an example, if you go from the about the project PDF to the how to use PDF to the how to build PDF, that order, then at least you kinda narrow it down, because the how to about this project is one PDF, and how to use will branch out to a few different PDFs, and then how to build are really specific for this model, So instead of read all the how to build PDFs, that will be really confusing and not fun. So it's better to go a little bit more in a guided direction, let's say. So I think that's the best way to go about it. If you want to see shooting demonstrations, I will put the links for that also in this video, and also below that the links to the projects that are currently released. You will see here at the bottom is the Rogue-6. This will be the new one. It looks basically like a Partisan-6, but you'll notice that the rail is different. It's nice to 3D print, no supports needed. And you can basically, in a sense, for airsoft, you can see like this, it looks a lot like a Mark II. It got the charging handle like the Mark II on the FGC-6, and this it goes back to a reciprocating charging handle. This happens to be an FA, that's why it locks back like that. But this will also be made in a hammer fight edition. But those are currently still work in progress. But as you can see, you can compare those two a lot with these two. This is the Mark I, FGC Mark I, with the charging handle, and this is the Mark II with the non-reciprocating charging handle. This one happens to not be able to go back like that, but normally you can lock it back like this and let it go forward.